Subscribe if you enjoy the video. You're well on your journey and you've decided it's time to venture into the dark and gloomy lands of the swamp. So in today's guide, we'll be discussing tips to keep you alive, do more damage, and become more efficient when trading through the swamps. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, don't enter from the coast. When arriving at a swamp biome, if possible, it's best to enter from another connecting biome rather than from the coast. Swamps have most enemies located on the outskirts, which is why entering from the coast only makes things more difficult. Not to mention, joggers can walk underwater and leeches are always present, putting you and your boat in danger. If you really have no other option, make a small base or platform where you dock. And be sure to put a workbench next to your boat so that in case it gets destroyed, the materials used to make it won't despawn. Tip number 2, use a mace. The mace deals blunt damage, which is most effective against lots of swamp creatures, including the oozer, blob, skeletons, and the boss itself, bone mass. Most other swamp creatures like the jogger or leech don't have any particular weaknesses, but the mace still works well against them too. Tip number 3, always be rested. Having learned from experience, being in the swamp while not being rested increases your chance of death by nearly 40%, roughly. Whether it's getting stuck in a hole, crevice, the water, or even nothing at all, running from enemies in the swamp without a sufficient amount of stamina is almost certain death, so stay rested. Tip number 4, bring poison resistance. Most enemies in the swamp will plague you with poison, and without any resistance, will give you a very difficult time. So always come prepared. There are 2 items that provide poison resistance, number 1 being, well, the poison resistance potion, and the second being the root mask, which can be crafted using 5 root, obtained from killing 1 abomination. Just keep in mind that the overall poison resistance provided by the root mask isn't as good as the potion itself, but it does the job. Also remember that if you're using a diverger circlet to see better in the swamp, this will unequip the root mask. Tip number 5, bring an Antler Pickaxe. Although you may have a bronze pickaxe or even an iron one at this point, bringing an Antler Pickaxe is always good to do since it only requires a workbench to repair. So when your pickaxe eventually breaks from mining all those muddy scrap piles, just quickly head outside of the crypt, repair, and head straight back in. Tip number 6, use a hoe against surtlings. I know what you're thinking, how can I attack a surtling with a hoe? Well, you can't. Not directly anyway. Once you clear the surtlings around their spawner, they won't respawn for another 5 minutes, giving you time to essentially set a trap. Their main weakness is water, so use your hoe on the ground below and around the spawner until it's low enough that the water is present. Now when surtlings respawn, it'll be straight into the water, leaving you with less fighting and more rewards. Tip number 7, teleport your boat. If you're going back on a return trip for more iron and already have a portal set up in the swamp, rather than sailing your boat back and forth, just take it with you. While iron itself can't be taken through a portal, iron nails can be. So when at your base, disassemble your boat and bring the materials with you through the portal. Once there, remake the boat and you've just saved yourself a whole load of time. Well then, those are my top 7 tips to help you traverse the swamps in Valheim. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and consider subscribing. Leave a comment letting us know what your favorite swamp tip was, and with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.